welcome to episode 6 of El Oso and the Duck. I am El Oso. This is the Duck.
Quack, quack.
Welcome, one and all, or zero. You know, it seems to have very few followers showing up on the screen, but whatever. We're going to get there one day.
It's all good.
All my Duck Pod fans, welcome.
Quack, baby. Quack, quack.
As you come in. So, Ducky, my friend, we have been kind of doing this podcast for a little bit now. You know, whether it's
we are on episode 6.
I get that. But I'm saying whether or not we get the views or whether or not we get the, recognition or all that, right? I still like to do these things. We enjoy, talking to the camera as much as we enjoy talking to ourselves. But I want to get a little deeper into the minds of us.
Uh-oh.
So I know we've been talking about, the weight that men carry, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just the mental health side, right? We're going to get a little bit into that today, but the expectations, the pressure. And then for most men, the silence. The ones that kind of sit through it, just, we were told to keep our feelings to ourselves.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying if you're from that generation or that era or whatever, like...
Well, we were talking with a student today we were at the range with, and he was asking if there was any tip I would give him for getting into law enforcement, corrections, anything like that.
Wow.
Going through the academy and then, obviously getting into it. Honestly, the first thing I told him was have a healthy mental outlet.
Yeah.
And I said, Joel and I have been each other's outlets.
1,000%.
But the reality of it is have something like that. Because back when you were in the military, I was in corrections. It was man up.
Yeah.
Deal with it. Man up.
But that has always been
and you drank yourself to death.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not saying it was a bad thing in the times.
Yeah.
But the way men were handling things back in the day, that whole bottle up, keep it, locked away.
Yeah.
And then they're turning around and beating their wives or fucking committing murder,
Hey, that was their outlet.
But that's what I'm saying, right? I don't think that's a very good outlet, right? So, me and Brian have kind of been discussing, right? We understand that the world has been this whole machismo with men. You need to, hold yourself in. You don't cry in public. You only cry when you're by yourself and you get your feelings all locked away. But at the same time, I feel, right, for what I am dealing with, if I am going to start portraying what I'm dealing with to the world, it's nice to have a male somebody that I can be like, hey, man, this is kind of what I'm dealing with as a man.
Quick random question. Do you feel it needs to be a man? Because I've heard that argument before.
I see where you're going with this.
That it's hard. Like, prime example, we've had the conversation. A therapist at the VA that's never been in the military. How can they know what you've been through?
Right. That'd be my argument sometimes, too.
So, as a female, would they be able to understand?
What up, Double D?
Hoo hoo.
But, right. I feel like, okay, right, for me, my father was one of those guys, right? You don't cry in public. You don't show
I apologize.
your emotions. You don't let people know what you're feeling. You go and deal with that on your own. And that's the way I was raised.
Woodford tonight, by the way.
And it has been a bit detrimental to me because since I did lock away, since I did go and kind of handle anger and things on my own, the outlets that I was going towards were not healthy ones. You know what I'm saying? I was fucking punching things when I was angry. Still do, when I'm a little over the edge. What kind of wood is that door? It's oak, baby. That shit is oak, I promise you. But anyways, so I just feel like, with my upbringing, that's what I was told, right? I tell my wife all the time, I can't believe the way some of these third world countries are with their wives. It's like, okay, but imagine for a second, that was your upbringing. Yeah. Every day, every male interaction you saw with their spouse, they were fucking backhanding them for disrespect or something. It would be a little bit more normal, is what I'm not saying it's not wrong. I'm just saying it'd be a little more normal. So it's a little hard for me to, automatically condemn or automatically be mad with the way, these women may feel or these men may feel. It's just the environment is different, right? We see it as And we've talked about it before, right? In the U.S., women have free security. Anywhere they go. Let some man fucking slap them one time. Even if I don't know the bitch, I'm jumping in to protect her. You see what I'm saying? So, I apologize. Right, that's...
Very rude to our female audience.
You know I love y'all ladies. I apologize. I didn't mean to say it like that. But, getting back on task, right? So, we've talked about it before. That whole expectation that, a husband kind of has when they're, in a marriage with children. You're supposed to be the provider, protector, go check out things that bump in the night, open her door, be gentlemanly, show affection, kill spiders. Love you, boo. I'll do it anytime you ask. But I'm talking about the expectation that we have
and then he's
as a man, like in those situations, right? Not the expectations of our wives. Our expectations, if we are put in the position of husband, of provider, of business owner, of veteran. You see what I'm saying? Like, what is the expectation that we start to put on ourselves that we end up learning that it was either too high of an expectation, or did we value ourselves to a point where we didn't, we weren't really where we thought we were?
Well, I believe every title you put on yourself comes with expectations.
I can agree with that.
Comes with tasks.
I can agree with that.
I claim to be a father. That now comes with a set of responsibilities.
Yes.
I am a business owner. That comes with a set of responsibilities.
And we've talked about that before, especially with like fatherhood and shit like that, right? But I'm more on some like, who were we taught to become? You see what I'm saying? Not like, when we got older, we kind of had our own views, our morals kind of gained a little more traction in what we wanted to live like, but who were we taught to be? You see what I'm saying? I get shit all the time because my father was a very no-take shit kind of guy. I have a funny story with Brian that I talk about. Back in the day when I was young, I'm going to get my father from the bar to let him know, it's getting time for mama wanting you home. He was in some type of argument. He was leaving, and the guy called him a hot dog.
Which I still don't.
And to this day,
I don't understand that insult.
I couldn't really understand why that was an insult, or maybe it was just the word he used because they were arguing. I don't know. But my father then turned around and proceeded to beat the dog shit out of this dude for calling him a hot dog, and I didn't understand that. But what I learned was, you don't let no man talk shit. Even if I didn't know what the fuck the insult was, I could visually see that my father was insulted. And he had to go handle it the way he saw fit. So that's how I started to live my life, because I'm just reflecting my father. And we talk about this, when our kids are young, they really are sponges to how we are reacting in our environment. His kid is a great example, because when my mom babysits him, a lot of times she's telling him, my dad's a little bit of a grumpy old man these days. So she'll be, Carlos, go to bed. So now, B3 over here will be, Carlo, go to bed. And it's just, he will literally soak up around him.
Or his latest thing, every day my wife comes home, hey babe, as she walks in the door. My son is calling everybody babe at this point. We're literally leaving his school. As we're walking out, hey babe, bye babe, see you tomorrow babe. I mean, everybody's babe. He's called my dad babe the other night.
Yeah, it is hilarious. But they are soaking sponges, right? I have a good example too. When my kids were young, Joshua was sitting there playing with blocks. They would fall and he would go, shit. And me and my wife are sitting in the living room like, I know he's not saying what I think he's saying. And you see him go in there, he's stacking things up. And
it's amazing how they never repeat, yes, sir.
Shit, right.
But listen they always repeat.
That was one of my biggest arguments. So I can't get a yes, no, sir, but I can get a shit.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And then I started to notice, right? My wife was more the culprit than I. She would, hey, go over there. What's that shit over there? Go grab that shit and bring that shit over here. Like, and then you wonder where they're getting it from, right? Yeah. So, going back to your childhood, right? Because I'm not going to lie to you guys, right? I've known this man 20 years. Sometimes we get into conversations we've still never had before, which to me is bananas.
It's crazy.
Because I've talked to this man for thousands of hours already.
Well, and let's face it, there's never been a filter between you and I.
Right. So I have slowly been learning the more childhood side of Brian, right? I learned about Hawaiian Brian. I wish I met him. you know what I'm saying, his teenage years into early adult years, we
I
would
used to
have
wear nothing but Hawaiian shirts,
murdered the game.
puka shell necklace,
If we were like this in our youth,
and flip flops.
the world must beware. But anyways, right? So now I'm starting to learn, even in his youth, Brian was already running the game, running the schemes, seeing where the work is, and producing, right? So at a young age, he wanted to start a little lawnmower company, right? As most young kids do, mostly males, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
they're willing to go do the work.
Well, even before that, you know, you got to remember, my parents got divorced when I was in kindergarten. So it was just me and my mom for a lot of years.
Yeah.
That resulted in me having a lot of, like, I remember having friends in elementary school that their fixing themselves breakfast was pouring a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
I had a toaster oven where I was able to make like egg and cheese McMuffins. And like that boggled their minds that like,
Yeah.
A, my mother would trust me to do that, home alone, because my mom's already at work.
What up, cuzzo?
Because my mom's already at work,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Like I'm making, you know, I'm coming home from school.
Well, look at my son as an
making little
example,
mini
right?
pizzas and stuff.
Right. Johnny made JoJo this little like cookbook to take with him to the military.
Yeah.
So when he's off of work, he is whipping up chuletas with white rice and beans. And these his friends of his age are amazed that he can whip up a dish like that.
But me and my mom, even, again, my elementary school years, I was responsible for helping with laundry.
Yeah.
You know, emptying the litter box, you know, because we had cats, which, goddamn cats.
Okay, so hold on. Let me ask you a question then, right? If you had a lot of like maturing things happen to you at an early age, do you feel like you ever really had like a childhood? You know how people say, oh, I had to grow up fast. I didn't really get to enjoy my childhood because I had too many responsibilities with siblings.
So I did and I didn't. And I'll tell you the number one person that I will accredit to always making sure I was a kid, my Aunt Amy.
Okay.
My Aunt Amy, who,
Shout out to Aunt Amy.
who she's just a big kid herself,
Yeah.
you know, to this day. But, you know, she didn't have kids because there's a pretty decent age gap between her and my mom being older. And I remember, even though I always enjoyed like hanging out with my Uncle Ed, we've talked about him, and my grandfather, my Aunt Amy would always make a point of like grabbing the football. And like, hey, let's go throw the football in the yard, you know, at a family function, you know. She always made a point of like making sure she'd take me for the weekend. You know, my mom hopefully knows this, but my first drink was with my Aunt Amy when I was probably middle schooler.
A young lad.
Staying with my Aunt Amy for the weekend. And she made, I want to say it was like pina coladas or something. And, you know, I was drinking with my Aunt Amy. You know, I mean, my Aunt Amy was always just that young, hip. So she always made sure I felt like a kid at family functions.
Yeah.
You know, but I also, like you said, had that old soul mentality too.
Oh, yeah.
I did grow up quick. You know, I remember being elementary, middle school age in the kitchen helping cook at family functions. You know, because there was no other kids. I was the only kid in the family. You know, I really was that in-between age. You know, my closest cousin to me, I think it's like 11, 12-year difference. So, I mean, I didn't have anybody to play with until I was like 15, 16 years old.
Holy shit, yeah.
Because I can't play with an infant.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, I didn't have anybody to go outside and kick the ball.
I'm with you.
And by then, I was a teenager bringing my girlfriends to functions.
Yeah.
You know, so, again, I credit my Aunt Amy to a lot of that. But I was that old soul. You know, like, I remember coming home from school and always having to page my mom back in the day of pagers.
Yeah.
To let her know I had made it home safe. But then I had chores around the house. I had things to do. When my grandmother moved in with us, she didn't get home till like 7 o'clock. I made sure her coffee was ready. And if I needed a semi-start dinner, make sure something was pulled out, whatever. Again, I was a kid making sure of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So
I had those responsibilities, but I never feel like I didn't get to be a kid. I just did older kid things at a younger
age. Which I can understand that.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been learning that Brian has a very boss mentality. You know what I'm saying? Even from early on, right? He started to fuck with this lawn company, started realizing there was money to be made, got his boys to cut the lawn for him, and
I ran
he's
the
just
office.
making the bankroll and spreading the dough.
Made sure gas was good.
So I'm starting to understand, even from youth, he's always had kind of this go mentality, right? How
Always
can
had
I
side
be better?
hustles.
Right. How can I be better? What can I do to make money? He's always been that way.
Yeah.
I have not always been that way. I had the adventurous side of me, like I'm down to go do new shit, but I was never really. I had like a job when I was in high school, and it did make me money, but it wasn't like I had that. Like,
Well, it's like I had
hustling
friends in high
factor.
school. They're like I remember my best friend's dad. He's like, why don't you get into wrestling? You know, you're a big guy. You'd be a really good wrestler. And I would actually help my friend, his son, train. And I'd whip his ass. And he's like, you need to get into wrestling. I'm like, does it pay? Like, because I knew I wasn't going to college.
Right.
So what does a varsity letter do for me?
Right. No, I'm with you.
You know, like, I'm sorry, a varsity letter means nothing in today's world. Like,
Okay,
now
so
at
then
40.
let me ask you this, right? If that was your upbringing, do you associate value with productivity?
Yes.
Now,
I mean, you and I joke about that all the time.
yes,
Because you always ask me, is there something that needs to be done?
there's always something to be done.
Now, is it on the front, burner of the stove? Not
No.
necessarily.
Right, and I'm
You know,
with
there's
you on
certain
that.
classes we want to put together, graphics we might need to create. But is it a today issue? No. But if it got done today, would that be a cool thing? Yes.
Okay, so then when as a business owner, right? Because you've been doing this fucking damn near 20 years, right?
Yep.
What does enough feel like to you?
I don't know, because I've never been there.
Like, do you have like a set, hey, if I'm doing X, you know what I'm saying? I feel like now I've accomplished what I'm setting out to accomplish.
So, and this kind of piggies back into me bringing you on board. I am at a point now, and not to say I'm rock star and shit, my company's been a roller coaster. But one of my biggest things that I'm in the process of doing now is more collaboration. Because my company is kind of plateaued. So I'm trying to create a network collaboration with different, like us working with TMG. That's a collaboration. My boy Dustin, he has his company. That's a collaboration. Even my dad, I've been helping him trying to up his social media marketing. Brian's of Dream Vacations, if you want to look at
Holics, y'all want a nice little
for
vacation.
all your cruise and vacation needs. But the reality of it is, like, I'm at a point now where one of the biggest things, and I said it for years, I always hated about running my own company was I only grew it to the point where it was enough for me. I could never afford or never had the opportunity to really bring other people in.
Yeah.
In a serious way.
Oh no, I'm with you.
I had little people that helped me here and there. Like my boy Manny, I've teamed up with him on things over the years. Again, Dustin, I've teamed up with him on things. But you are the first person that I've really been able to full-blown, like, you are now part of Don't Be a City.
Yeah.
And obviously, could not be more ecstatic for that. Because if there's one person I'd want to bring it to you. But like even my dad came and taught for me for a couple months when it was slow for his cruise business during COVID and all that. But him and I didn't really see eye to eye on how to do things. Because he runs his own company. So now you got two company owners butting heads.
Yeah.
He comes from heavy law enforcement background. I don't come from that side as much. So, I tell everybody I was in law enforcement long enough to understand it, but not long enough to get brainwashed. Because like it or not, you look at 30-year-old or a 30-year veteran, law enforcement, corrections, any of that, it changes their mentality. And I feel like I was in it long enough to really understand it, but not get brainwashed.
Yeah.
And that's why I bring a different flavor to teaching the private side. And you have the same gift. You've been instructing more and more. And when I listen to you instruct, you have the same style I have. Because, again, you were able to do it and get the job done, but you weren't in it so long to be brainwashed.
Yeah.
You weren't a company man.
Yeah.
You knew how to get the fucking job done. And
That's what I'm good at.
You and I made a promise to each other when we started working together. We always go home.
Yeah.
You know, I never call your wife and say you're not coming home. You never call my mother and say I'm not coming home. And that was a promise we kept.
It was before he was married, obviously. But
Obviously. You know, but as a result of that, being a business owner, I'm now more focused on collaborations because there was a really long way to circle back to this. I hated working by myself. You know, even though I would make really good connections with my students, they're there for a week
Right.
and then they're gone.
I'm with you.
And I really did miss the camaraderie, you know, of having coworkers. And now as I'm getting older, I'm trying to find ways to model my company in a way, and especially now that you're on board, how can I create a company where now I can do it with my best friend?
Yeah.
But we also got to make sure the money's there. We got to make sure we can provide for our families. You know, we got to make sure at the end of the day it is a business, not a hobby.
Right. Right.
You know, and that's where you got to make sure decisions are made the right way. And I'll be honest with you, some of those decisions that need to be made are newer things for me because I've never had to look at it in that way.
Right.
Like,
Right. You
am I
always
able
had
to
that
cover my
solo
nut?
mentality.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, oh, what are you doing next weekend? Because we're scheduling a class. I've never had to do that. I just tell my family, hey, next Saturday I'm working. Deal with it. But now it's, hey, next Saturday we're working. You don't have football or anything with your kid, do you? Hey, you don't have this, do you? Hey, you don't need to do this, do you? So now having to be considerate of that, and even though you come at me all the time, like, if we got to work, we got to work. But
Well, because I'm trying
also
to
the
show you
benefit
the
of-
opposite end of that.
But also the benefit of us having a business is, why should we have to give up family time unless we absolutely have to?
Right.
Because
you're right.
what
You've
does
been
it mean
always
to,
on that.
okay, cool, you have a play next Saturday. Okay, cool, so we move that class to the following Saturday. What does that hurt us?
Yeah.
It doesn't. But I've never had to be considerate of that in a way because I've always just, hey, here's my schedule to my family, and they've always been golden about understanding that.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. You've always been a solo business owner.
Yeah.
Like, remember, we were just talking about it before we started the pod. Just the way you were always moving, you never had that advantage of that second pair of hands.
Yeah.
Or that ability to have me go
And I've
inside and
struggled
teach.
passing responsibilities to you.
But that's what I'm telling you. Like, look how productive you were the other day when I was
Yeah.
able to just slide through the class teaching and you were able to just stay in your office and do what you had to do all day.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I'm starting to see the benefit. Goodness. I'm starting to see the benefit, you know what I'm saying, to helping you out. And I told you, man, I'm with you till the wheels fall off, man.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what direction we go.
Well, and that was something I told you early on. I can teach you everything I need to teach you. What cannot be taught is loyalty.
Yeah. Or the time it takes to build it, at least for the way we are. You know what I mean?
And the
Like,
fact that I know I can say, hey, do this.
yeah.
And I know I'm not going to get, well,
Point and shoot. What up, Scyther? What up, Mommy? What up, Amanda? Thanks for watching.
So,
But yeah, I'm looking at them as they come. You know what I'm saying? We kind of have the little live here to see
Yeah.
comments, so we're kind of more in tune with those that are viewing,
so feel free to comment.
which I appreciate. Right. But I know I was getting into more your side, Ducky. What is something you would, say, because we have kind of views, but different point of views. We've always talked about climbing the mountain from different paths. So what would be something you want to know from my end, especially with, the military, the mental health stuff? You've been through kind of the whole roller coaster that I've been riding. So
Do you feel the labels help you or hurt you?
as far as what, like the way they word them is the diagnoses?
Well, we'll get to that before we go down that road. Like, I've heard many veterans. You always see veterans wearing a hat, veterans hat, whatever, Iraqi freedom, Desert Storm,
I had mine on
whatever,
today.
Vietnam, whatever. And people as a default, no different than I sneezed, you say bless you.
Yeah.
People as a default, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. To the point where it almost doesn't, where I look at it as an outsider, not being a veteran, it's almost like a reflex or like watered down or ingenuine to a point. Do you enjoy the label of being a veteran?
Yes, but not for the reasons that the way you just described, right? Like I'm not having my veteran hat on to have people walk up to me to say thank you for your service, because to be honest with you, I don't really know how to respond to that. Like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there are so many things that are behind that it's hard to really justify it with. I understand people are trying to be courteous. Hey, they, enjoy the USA, and I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? But to me, it feels weird to say you're welcome when they say thank you for your service. It feels kind of weird to be, it was my pleasure, because it wasn't pleasurable at times. So I don't really know how to respond to that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it a little, I'll thank you, or I'm glad that I was able to give same time to my country, stuff like that. But for a lot of the veterans that had the combat side of things, like, it's more of a, we're glad it's over than we're proud that it happened.
Do you, not to go as far as like stolen valor, but do you think people would change how they approach that situation if they knew that, like, I mean, let's be real, we've talked about before, just because you're ex-military, does that make you a gun expert?
Oh, no, I'm with you.
Like, because we run into that with classes. Everybody goes, well, I'm ex-military, I know what I'm doing. Well, what was your MOS in the military? What did you do?
Yeah.
I mean,
civil engineering.
Well, not to be a dick, but I mean, the military is janitors.
Yeah, that's
So I mean, you could have been a janitor in the military, walking around with a veteran's hat. You never went overseas. You never saw combat. You never.
Yeah.
Does it bother you that they get the same recognition that you do?
No, because I made that choice.
Okay.
Like, you don't understand. I joined because of 9/11.
Yeah.
Regardless of my views on it now, after the fact, we'll get to that later. We're not doing that this episode. But I joined because I wanted to show my support to my country, that if we got sucker punched, I'm definitely want to be the one that's out there ready to sucker punch back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was kind of my motivation to get it. I wanted to be in the shit. I wanted to go out there and see what it actually was like. There were people that just liked the prestige. Remember, like, we're doing prisoner transport. How badass was it? We'd walk into a place there, oh shit, like, holy shit, get the fuck away from these guys. Yeah. And we're just walking in to grab some monsters, or to grab some, mucho mango teas, whatever the hell it was. But just the prestige, the way we were held, the badge, the gun, it says prisoner transporter, like, people would be, oh shit. And I'm not gonna lie, my whole career, it's been uniforms, the military, the prison, prisoner transport, security. Like, it's always been some type of uniform for me.
Yeah.
I've never kind of had the ability to dress how you want, go into work and do what you want. I see my wife going in pajamas and shit. I be mad. Like, I don't know. You're going to work. You know what I'm saying?
I do the same thing with Melissa, because I think of her in like a corporate world, and for her to wear like jean capris and a howdy t-shirt, I'm like, is that really office attire? But that's how their office dresses.
If it's accepted, you can't be mad at it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All right, what else you got for me, big dog?
So we talked about the label of veteran.
Right.
What about the label of PTSD? How do you feel that's affected you?
Oh, you already know. It's been fucking since day one. But, okay, see, so I've always had anger problems, right? We were talking about that, right? My dad has showed me a way. It wasn't the best way, but it was a way, and it was very productive. But it's not the best way. He showed me a way. So then when I got into the military, that just kind of solidified the way I was as a person. Because now in the military, not taking any shit, standing behind your, comment or ability or whatever the fuck, and then truly performing when needing to, then all of a sudden, whether they liked you or not, the respect was there.
Okay, so before you go further down that road, could it be argued your PTSD was pre-military and the military just amplified it?
I wouldn't say no to that. I wouldn't say there wasn't some type of, childhood trauma, because, my VA therapist be, Mr. Vera, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you had a very traumatic childhood. Yeah. No fucking shit. Like, any Puerto Rican has a traumatic childhood.
Yeah.
Just look it up. It's natural to beat your children at the age of 4 or whatever fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, You know why I got traumatic? Come here, I'm not gonna hurt you. Come here. Come here, I'm not gonna hurt you. And then they wonder why we got trust issues. But whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just...
You know your mom's pulling her hair out right now.
No, listen. Mama, I love you to death. And I'm not saying she was a bad mother. No, like, it's just in our culture, right? In the Puerto Rican culture, if you are fucking up, you get corrected. You see what I'm saying? That's why I didn't have a problem. I don't beat my children, but I will discipline them like a motherfucker.
Check them.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my wife don't appreciate me slapping my children in the face, but if I feel they are either at a disrespectful level that they are not clearly seeing, or they have truly fucked up to the point where it needs an immediate correction, I'm giving them a 50% one time. Like, what are you doing? Like, you need to unfuck yourself, because whatever decision you're making right now is not the one you should be making. So that's where sometimes I feel like, especially with my anger issues, right? On a personal level, right? We're going to get a little personal. Stay smooth booty with me for a minute. I feel like I am damaging my children because of the way I am. What I'm dealing with, what I'm trying to figure out how to deal with through my life right now, my children are experiencing as their upbringing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I have nights where I'm sitting out here, you know, crying with my wife because I feel like my kids are getting half of me because the other half is kind of struggling just to maintain stability. You see what I'm saying?
Do you feel like the label keeps you from moving on? Kind of becomes a scapegoat.
No. See, well, yes, the way you're describing it, but I don't like the way that is set out, right? It's not like I'm sitting here using that as for the reason why I'm pissed
I'll
off.
give you a really hokey example. You meet a loud, obnoxious person. And they go, well, I'm from New York. You know, that's how all us fucking New Yorkers are. No, you're a loud, obnoxious asshole. Has nothing to do with the fact that you were born in New York. Do you feel that having that PTSD label, it has somehow became your identity?
Oh, yeah. We've talked about this before, right? Almost everywhere I go, my family members give PSAs to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're going to be hanging out with my cousin. He'll Ukrainian. You know what I'm saying? He likes to have a good time, but let's all keep it an joyous occasion.
But do you think you've embraced it and taken it further? Even post-military?
Oh, no. Yeah, 1,000%. Because you're absolutely right. That face that, hey, he looks like he don't want to be fucked with. You're right, sir. I don't want to be fucked with. That's why I don't look at people unless I got a problem with you, because eye contact institutes conversation, and I don't fucking want that shit.
But is that because of your military PTSD? Or is that because of you just getting older and not wanting to be a social?
No. Okay, so when I got my biggest issue when I first got out, most of my vets will understand this if they had any type of, gun or combat experience, right? Everything moved very slow.
Okay.
Very, very slow. I would even get in arguments with my wife just because I'm sitting here like, what the fuck do you do for 7.5 hours now that work is over?
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the armory cleaning a gun. I'm reloading mags. I was doing something, and now they're telling me I need to relax.
As a business owner, you always have something to do.
Okay, we argued about this, right? But I tell you, right, one of my fears are, when I initially got out, I barely slept next to my wife because I was having these little phantom dreams, and I'm putting holes in my wall. I'm breaking fingers on my mother's fucking chair, sleeping on a air mattress because I'm throwing fucking shit and just banging into metal.
Amanda said she had the best time as kids with you, though.
She right. We had some good times in Indiana Beach and shit. You know what I'm saying? That was where that, me as a Puerto Rican, right? Our camaraderie culture, like our family culture, is a lot more tight-knit. You know what I mean? Like, especially like with my Aunt Annie, especially where me and Amanda would hang out, right? They've been at that property for like 30 years, bro. That was my whole upbringing. I've been to that house. You know, most of my family on my mother's side has been somewhere near that house. You know, Rosada, who's on here, right? That was my little sister, basically, when we were younger. Because me, her, my wife, Jody, her sister, Jahida, we were all still, hanging out with each other. Yeah. I was hanging out with my wife when she was 11 years old before we even got together. That's just because our families are so close.
I'm not going to lie. Sometimes how you say that sounds a little,
Oh, no, listen to me. I understand, okay?
I've been eyeballing my wife since she was 11.
We had to make sure that there wasn't some type of connection, Brian. I thought I maybe had married my cousin or some shit by accident. I ain't gonna lie to you. But right, so my mom's cousin
23 and
Ani,
shit?
right, my mom's cousin Ani married Ralph. Ralph is brother to my wife's father. So that's how they're connected. And then our fathers, when they were young in Puerto Rico, used to play fucking baseball together, bro. Like that's how close knit like Puerto Ricans are. Like if you are from like La Isla, if you are from the island, men are playing playing baseball, they're working, you know what I'm saying? They're hanging out by the beach, and then they go out and about into the US and stuff, and all of a sudden they run into my dad used to kill me, right? No matter where we went, Brian, in Chicago, no matter where, he would run. Larry, get the fuck out of here. Cole, is that you motherfucker? Like, how do you know someone everywhere we fucking go? It amazed me. I gave him the most credit. My dad is very street smart. Very street smart. He fucked with the hood a lot. He fucked with the streets in his youth a lot. He got into his own little troubles in his youth. But he was very street smart. He knew how to find things and get things handled real quick too. So just circling back, right? The label bothers me, but at the same time, it gives me what I want. And yes, partially is it from, you know what I'm saying, my prior in my youth. And I think the military intensified it to the point where now it became a problem. Like, I never really liked big crowds before, you know what I'm saying? But in my youth, I was in ROTC, I was in drama, I was in big crowds in theaters. That shit never bothered me.
Well, that's kind of where I was going with that. Did the PTSD label just kind of solidify what was already there?
Yes. Like, I remember, I was already doing my family used to...
And now it becomes the easy, here's my card, to explain things to people.
That's the part that bothers me.
Okay.
That I need the card. Hey, Brian, before you talk to me, read this card. You know, quick outburst, quick tempered, short fuse, quick to violence. You know,
oh, you have a list. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I've read that list.
That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
Like when I got my VA assessment back, how shocked were we? Yeah. I was thinking I had like 3 issues.
I had to Google some of the syndromes you had.
And they're just like, hold the fuck on. Like, what do you mean? You didn't tell me about this. Now after 13 years of dealing with the VA, now we're slowly kind of addressing the real problems.
Yeah.
After they threw me a fuck ton of lithium to fuck up my thyroid, and then after they pulled it back and said, all right, we need to regulate this thyroid, and then after throwing me fucking 16 pills a day to say, this is your new normal, it took me to say, no, time out, man. Like, I'd rather be a little bit crazy and not take 16 pills a day and see if I could regulate that rather than following their guidelines, and then my kidneys start to go bad and my liver starts to go bad. And all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, I'm having all these health problems because I have 20 years of taking some extra medication into my body that doesn't belong anyway.
Yeah.
So that's where, you know, my frustrations get in, because I do kind of feel like a guinea pig. You know
I was mind
like,
fucked when you pulled out your little medicine bag that one night after I hadn't seen you for a while, and you were putting together a shot glass of like friggin' pills to take, and I'm like, holy shit.
But see, that's the one thing that I dislike about the VA, right? Instead of kind of figuring it out, right? I'm a big talkative person. I feel like just a nice one-on-one with like a shrink every week would just kind of help me go through a lot of the anger issues that I'm dealing with. Because that's my biggest problem, right? Most of the people that know me, right, they know I got anger problems. And I try to not have anger problems, but I can't seem to get around it right now. So I try to mitigate how angry I'm getting. And that's you come into play for that. Like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're fucking up here. I need you down here. Or you crack a joke to kind of, you know what I'm saying, get my mind off the anger for a second.
Yeah.
Same thing with my wife, right? I
like to think I've got pretty good at managing you.
1,000%. You're almost as good as my wife, nigga. Almost. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like I tell my wife, right?
There's certain things I'm not willing to do. Okay.
Well, no, it's just
we're close.
I personally do feel bad for my wife sometimes, because it's not like I am. How do I word this? I'm not addressing her like she is the problem. She is just a target around.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of vets will understand this, right? Especially if you're having anger issues. Sometimes when you're in this little bout of anger, whoever's that, he's caught it before off a random, like, hey man, like, where the fuck is this coming from? Like, we were just talking about what we're gonna get for lunch. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, we're arguing about how me and you see each other. Like, where the fuck did we go from there? Yeah. How did we get there? And that's kind of my issue right
Yeah,
now.
but I've
like-
never taken offense to it because I recognize
But that's where
it's a moment.
right? But that's where me and you kind of click more often because you see, it's not. I'm not attacking you as a person.
Because I'm perfect.
Far from it. But you know that sometimes you're just there, and sometimes he knows better than my wife to kind of just sit there and let this rant get out,
Yeah.
and then we'll be fine. You know, there are times where my wife is like, "Oh my God, I heard you and Brian arguing. Is everything okay?" And that was like 3 hours ago. Like we were over that an hour ago.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I don't want it to make it. I don't like the PSA announcement. I really don't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do appreciate the fact that people have it, so that way
I was going to say, do you find it helps?
it depends on your definition of help. Not so much help, because
So-
if a scenario kicks off and people are like, "Oh, what the hell?" There ain't no what the hell. Then oh fuck, Joel
So
fucking
say I
lost
was
his
to
shit.
bring a friend over here and they've never met you before and you just happen to be in the front of your house and you hear me outside. Hey, you're about to meet this guy, Joel. He's a little fucked up in the head. He's intense. No loud noises.
I like the intense description. That's
Don't
a
look
good
him
way.
in the eyes.
You ain't gotta be all that. They're gonna be like,
But I mean-
"Hello, sir," like that.
But would it bother you to know that people are having to warn people before they meet you?
I told you it bothers me already. The PSA does bother me, but it is beneficial because then if things do kick off, I don't want to hear no, "Oh my God, why did he take it to that level?"
Yeah.
I already told you we'll have a good time as long as everyone stays respectful. You leave your hand, keep your hands off my wife. Don't be disrespectful to my wife if I'm out in public, and we're Gucci. I'm down to have a good time. But the moment someone crosses that line, I cross lines better. You know what I'm saying? And I will take it to a level that they're not going to appreciate.
I crossed that line just to mess with him.
No, see, the thing is, Brian has time served, right? He has been with me through all the ups and downs with my wife.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He has been with me through where I'm questioning marriage, where he's telling me, "Are you out of your mind? This woman is beautiful." And I'm telling him, I know.
Well, even beyond
You know what I'm saying?
beautiful,
Like, but
she's
just
a good
because
soul.
just because they pretty, I need more than just pretty. And now my wife, especially after 20 years, like, I do give her credit. She does learn how to manage me better to help me stay out of jail, to stop, from doing something retarded in a situation where I shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, letting my emotions get the better of me. And I openly admit that shit. This is where I think a lot of men kind of struggle and fail, is they don't want to say, yeah, I do struggle with my anger sometimes. You know what I'm saying? This thing does piss me off to the point where sometimes I make decisions that I know are not good for me, but in the moment, because I'm just in that rage, I could give a shit about consequences and repercussions until after the fact. And then you sit there all wallowing and sad and shameful because you did something you know you didn't want to do, but you let your anger get the better of you.
Do you
I'm right
find the PTSD label has helped you understand why you are the way you are?
Of course.
Yeah.
Because at least it gave you the medical
Now you know
avenues. Right. You know what I'm saying? The reason
Okay.
I'm always kind of looking at exits, the reason I want my back to the wall. And it's funny because my family used to just fuck with me. We would go out to dinner or whatever, and they're all, ask him. No, you ask him. And it's like, what are you going to ask me? Like, all right, Dad, do it. There's 3 exits. There's 47 males, 23 females, 6 children, 2 exits behind me. And they're all, how do you do that? Like,
Some Jason Bourne shit.
no, man, but it's
Yeah.
to me, it's just I use my eyes.
Well, and they're out there further, so you got bigger peripheral.
Yes, I'll give you that too. So now that we've kind of talked about the lot of inner workings, right, Brian? I know we've been kind of talking about things like what do men feel like? Why is it that, especially for you, right? Because kind of you more so than me. Why do you feel guilty when you take a day off? Like if I tell you, hey, take a day, you don't check your emails, you don't check your phone. It's just your day, whether it's with your family or just you. Every time I try to bring it up to you, it's like, no, can't do it. Got to check my emails. Got to answer calls. Because that's a student. That's money. That's this. That's that. Why is it that you feel that guilt that I can't take a day off?
So this is a conversation I have with my wife all the time. I own the non-Fortune 500 company called Don't Be a Sitting Duck. Now we. And that changes it even more so now. My reputation surrounds how I treat students.
Right.
Like my wife, Okay, cool. Something happens after hours. She's not on the clock. I don't have a clock
A clock.
that I'm punching in.
Yeah, we talked about this before.
You know,
I'm not a clock puncher, blah, blah, blah.
If I got a student that I told in class over and over, hey, even after this class, if there's anything I can help you out with, reach out. I am here. It'd be like me telling you with your people, like, man, if it's 2 a.m. and you fucking need to call.
Right.
And you call me at 2 a.m., ignore. And you call me at 2 a.m. again, ignore.
I never call you again.
You FaceTime me, ignore. And that's the way I look at my business. Because, again, my reputation, I am my business. You know, and that's where, like, I'm struggling to find, you know, again, circling back to what we were talking about a minute ago, that collaboration aspect. I have to make sure I collaborate with people I can trust.
Yeah.
Because, again, now I need to trust that you're going to maintain with the same passion the reputation that I've busted almost 2 decades my ass to create.
And I'm with you. I understand that.
Like my dad, he's had his cruise business almost just as long. Actually, longer than I have. He goes out of town, asks me to answer his phones for him. What do you want, woman? Yep, my dad will get back to you when he gets in town. Click. And this is one of his clients he's had for 20 years. He has sent her daughter on honeymoon cruises, you know, done, you know, endless family vacations, created that personal connection.
I'm with you.
Who am I to now say, I was willing to tell you, call me in your time of need, but now, oh shit, I'm not feeling it today, screw you.
Yeah.
To me, that makes me a false or a shitty person.
Okay, so let me ask you this, right? What is it that makes us feel like providing is a part of our identity? Is that just the upbringing? Is that naturally innate in males?
No, I don't think it's naturally innate in males because I see too many males that don't look at it like that.
Betas!
And, you know, like, I mean, prime example. You're one of 3 sons, right?
Yes.
Do all of you have the same outlook on life?
Fuck no.
You know, we had this conversation about your youngest son versus your older son. You know, your older son's gone into the military. He's getting that alpha-ness about him.
That assertiveness about his life.
Your younger son, not to say he's a wuss, but he doesn't have that alpha that you're chasing.
No, he is, for his size, he is very timid.
He's very timid.
Yes. Until you get him on the football
field.
field.
Both grew up in the same household.
See, and listen to me, that kind of boggles my mind too with me and my brothers. We all were raised by the same 2 people in the same environments, in the same hood, in the same...
So to me, I do think there's something as far as just a personality trait. Now, I will say there's things in my life that has inspired or triggered that more. You know, both of my parents, stupid, amazing work ethic. Like, my mom has literally been sent home by her bosses. Like, you are sick, go the hell home. Like, because, I mean, let's face it, you look at us as supervisors for the company we supervise for TMG. I mean, we've had people call, you know, hey, I need next week off because, you know, I need a mental health day. Or that does not compute for us.
Yeah, nah.
You know?
Especially with me, because I deal with that on the regular, and I don't call saying I need a day.
And I mean, obviously, my dad being a deputy, you being military, you know, you wake up tomorrow, the war is on. Do you get to tell your brothers in arms, hey, I'm feeling a little sick right now?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to have your back going into combat?
Yeah.
Because I need a day? I mean, when you and I were on transport, we're in California. I get sick. Yeah. I can't stay home.
Hey, I need a mental health day. You go pick up 12 inmates and drive them 800 miles.
Today, I'm not in it.
I'll see you in the next town.
So I do feel jobs and different, like, again, my parents being that type of parent, I think that has amplified it But I do think there are certain people, and I think high school is a great way to look at it because you look at groups of friends in high school. And there's always like the alpha. There's always the cool guy. There's always the guy who just follows
boy,
whatever.
I'm with you.
Every friend group has certain titles. So I do think sometimes it is just a roll of the dice, a luck of the draw.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, and if there are any males out there, please leave a comment on this question because I kind of want to, and hear what I'm asking before you ladies start jumping down my fucking throat, all right? Listen to the fucking question before you start. Have you ever...
Hey, my mother is on here, and she's a good Christian woman.
No, just hear me out. No, because I'm going to give you my breakdown for why I want to ask this question, but I know where the ladies' heads are going to go because I hear my wife immediately. Have you ever felt like you have this responsibility that everyone is depending on you, but you cannot depend on anyone? Now, hear what I'm saying, because I know we're married. It's not like I'm saying I can't rely on my wife. My wife has been my number one supporter and helped me through all this shit. But what I'm saying is I can't depend on my wife to understand what I'm dealing with from the military. Just like I told him, right, there are things that my wife still don't know because she worries enough about me. If I'm starting to give her the nitty-gritty details, then she's really going to start to worry. Yeah. And I don't want that for her. She worries enough. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting that woman through enough with this shit. I don't want to add on to the stress already. But then there are times where may have gotten stories that she has not gotten, only because I feel he can kind of take it in without having that, oh my God, and more so like, holy shit, that sucks. Like, how is it that you're kind of dealing with that today? Well, he helps me get through some things with asking the right questions sometimes.
Well, because, and I know the ladies are going to hate this, but women approach things emotionally. Men approach things logically.
Well, see, right, we say that, but I get it.
So if you're going through something, you don't need another emotion. You're already emotional. So you don't need a second emotional amplifying that.
Yes.
You're chasing a solution. Solutions are found by logic. So I feel that's why sometimes you feel more comfortable coming to me because I'm not going to be here in my feelings because you're in your feelings and now we're in our feelings. Like, no. And don't get me wrong. Have you and I cried it out?
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. I understand.
Because I do feel I am closer to you than any other man I've ever been closer to.
Yeah, and I agree.
Call it gay, call it whatever. I don't give a fuck.
You can call it whatever you want.
We were joking earlier. We could play being a gay couple all day long.
Heterosexual life made for life.
That's right. And I'm not going to lie, to see you hurts me.
Right.
To see you cry or struggle hurts me.
But you are one of the few people, too, that you've been kind of there through it all. You've seen the struggles. You've seen the changes and moods through all these different medications they're throwing on me. You see the struggles I have with my wife and what I'm questioning in my life.
And sometimes I feel that struggle.
And I think what it is, too, is a lot of times you can relate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Although you may be more on the mindset of business owner and work, as far as what you deal with the struggles with your marriage, how you feel about the time you have towards your children, or what you're actually giving towards them, what they're perceiving from you. Like, I would really like to do that one day. I really would. Like, maybe give my kids a questionnaire and just let them answer, like, how do you see your father? How do you think your upbringing was in your youth? Say, just to see if the idea I have in my head of the father I was to my children compared to the idea of the children.
My mom says my dad was the emotional one.
There's no doubt in my mind that is correct.
That's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate. Love you, mommy.
Don't get me wrong, Deborah. You have your moments, but I can definitely see that he was more than you.
I will say, and I've struggled with it myself because I do feel like sometimes the cliche sad clown.
Yes.
There have been numerous times in my life that I feel like I haven't been allowed, and allowed might be the wrong word, but it wasn't appropriate for me to be emotional because I had to be there for my loved ones.
Right.
Prime example, and my mom's on here and she'll remember this. I'm the one who did, I don't know what they call it when you officiate a funeral. What do you call that? Because you're the official.
No, man.
You officiate a wedding. I'll use the same term for a funeral. I did that not only for my grandfather, but for my friend Joey.
Yeah, I remember Joey.
And when my grandfather, when I went up there and did his funeral, I told my mom, don't fucking look at me. Because, I mean, you know, me and my mother are stupid close.
Oh yeah.
And I knew if I looked at her crying,
It would
make me
Oh
cry.
yes, I get it.
So in that moment, and don't get me wrong, I had my moments, and everybody in that room knew, because everybody knew how close I was with my grandfather,
Yeah.
and it was okay. My mom says eulogy. You're doing the eulogy,
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Mama.
but I knew in that moment I had to keep my shit together as best I could,
Yeah.
because there were so many other people in that room. Not that their emotions were more valid or less valid than
Nah,
mine.
but it was just you feel like
But
you could,
I needed to be that person in that moment that they could lean on.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And even though I knew I could go to my mom and she'd give me the biggest fucking hug in the world, and we did. But the reality of it is, I knew in that moment it was more important for me to be that for them than them to be that for me. And maybe they feel like the same thing.
The vice versa.
Maybe they feel the vice versa. But in my mind, you know, like prime example, when my Uncle Ed passed, I knew I needed to be there for my Aunt Sonia.
Yeah.
I loaded up in my car, I did a 2-hour fucking drive, and I went down Okeechobee for the night. I had to work the next day. But I knew in that moment when my Uncle Ed passed, nothing was more important than me going and giving my aunt a hug. And her knowing she wasn't alone. And even though her daughter was there, friends were there, I felt my responsibility in the family in that moment was being there. When my great-grandmother passed, same thing. Melissa and I were laying in bed down in Kissimmee, and I got the call in the middle of the night that my granny had passed. Instantly, I loaded up. I drove 2.5 hours up, and they were still in bed. They had gone to bed after my granny had passed, and literally when they woke up, I was there at the house, waiting on them to wake up. And I knew I needed to be there for my grandmother. I knew I needed to be there for my mother, which, thank God, because my mom ended up hurting herself that day. That was a whole other fucking thing.
Clumsy, are we?
But I will say there's been times that, you know, like my mother will call me numerous times. And like, hey, I just talked to your grandmother. You know, my grandmother, goddamn, she should have died 1,000 times over. She's like a Timex watch. Like, she
I'm
refuses
telling
to
you,
stop.
right?
But there's times that my mom will call and be, hey, you need to call your grandmother and put her in a good mood. Because I have been that person for my family. I'm the jokester. I'm the, like you saying, you know, I know how to joke and take you out of that moment.
Right.
I am 1,000% that for my family. But I will say there's been certain times that I want to sit there and just scream.
Oh yeah.
You know, I want to sit there and be like my Uncle Ed's funeral, you know, I sat there and bawled. Like, I don't think I've ever cried in years as I'm watching photos come across.
Yeah.
You know? And I knew I needed to step aside. I needed to have a moment. I didn't want to be that. I know weak is the wrong term.
But that's how you see it. That's how you see it.
I knew I needed to be strong for my family.
Right.
And even though I needed to have my moment, and they were okay with that, I knew I needed to. Okay,
Right.
I had my moment.
Right. Suck it up.
Now we're on game time. Get the fuck back in the game. And I'm honored that I am that for my family. But I'm not going to lie, sometimes that burden becomes a lot.
Right.
And especially now that a lot of the generation that I've looked up to is getting that older age, it becomes exhausting.
Oh yeah.
To always try to be able to put, you know, like we're having to go see my grandfather right now. He's in a rehab center.
Okay.
The second I walked in that rehab center, I had flashbacks of going and seeing my other grandfather in rehab. And watching my grandfather, a man who I saw as the men of men, watching him wither away.
Yeah.
all those memories just came back. And I knew, I was there with my grandmother and my wife. And I knew my wife would have her moment because I knew as soon as I felt that, I knew she would start feeling that from her mother.
Right.
I had to just kind of let them walk ahead. And I had to really just like get my shit together. Because I knew going and seeing my gramps, I know he's stressing being there. I knew he didn't want to be there. I knew it's overcoming him. I knew I needed to be the jokester.
Right.
That was my job that day. To go see him and have him forget where he is for a moment. And I'm so honored that, again, I can be that for my family. But God damn, does it take a toll on me sometimes.
See, so why do you think men do that to themselves? Why do you think they always seem to be like, let me shoulder all the burden so that way no one else has?
Because whether it's right or not, we feel we're the only ones capable. Because in that moment, I feel like my mother, one of the strongest females I'll ever meet. My grandmother, goddamn, again, a woman who's been told she has months to live for years and years and years. I mean, you ever want just a shining example of inspiration? My grandmother is that. And, I mean, these are strong people. They're capable without me. But if I can take some of that burden off of them, who am I to not?
So do you think it's beneficial, like, we've talked about it before, right? As far as like putting on this persona, putting on that brave face so that you don't have to show, like that was my big problem we talked about before with my kids, right? How am I supposed to tell my kids you have the ability to handle whatever life throws at you, and I'm barely handling what life is throwing at me? So it made me question on whether or not I was even a good example for my children.
You know why? Because we lie to our kids for their best interest. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
See, but I don't think I necessarily lie to my kids.
Because we want to show them what they're capable of. Set them up to be able to conquer their weaknesses.
Right. I'm with you on that.
So
I feel like I gave my kids a better guideline.
I don't want to teach them, like, hey, yes, it's going to be shitty. Instead, I want to show them you can overcome it. So I want to solidify the positive and let them learn their own lessons. But I want to give them every tool possible.
Right. That's where I'm
on the positive side.
Well, I mean, I want my kids to kind of fall on their face too, because I want them to learn how to get back up. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to always be coddled or always be there for them or always answer a question for them, especially in life. Like
no, my son's about to be 3. He falls and
yeah,
he's fine.
Right, get up.
We joke.
Shake it off.
We use the old Jackass motto. If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. If he's going to do dumb shit,
he's got to be
tough. And for me, that's me solidifying to him. Like, yeah, you're going to get fucking hurt. But damn it, you're fine. Get up, move on.
See, and I always caught shit for that with my kids when they were growing up. They're, oh my God, you're so rough with them. I understand that.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it may be a little rough with them. Oh, my dad's looking at me when I'm hurt. Just tell me to get up and wash it off. But then when they're older, look, my kid had a broken toe and was just still playing football.
Didn't he have a cracked rib too? Wasn't there a rib thing or something too?
No.
Thought he had
well, no, I know he took a helmet to the chest. That was a little, you know what I'm saying?
I thought he cracked a rib or something.
He had a bruised rib.
That's what it was.
Yeah. But that was just, he did take a helmet, you know what I'm saying, to the damn near solar plexus, and he didn't really have padding there. But anyways.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Brian, right? Because I feel like I do it. I don't know if you do it. This is why I want to bring it up, right? Do you put on, do you have that daily mask that you put on? Do you wake up as Brian, get in the bathroom, take your shit and piss, brush your teeth, and then look in the mirror and go, all right. And then now the day Brian comes out? Or do you have just, you get up and go and you kind of deal with what gets thrown at you?
I think I take the day minute at a time.
Right. I feel like even if you were to wear a mask, it is I got this mask. I'm going to handle it one way or another.
And this is where you and I joke. We're the yin and yang. I try to always put a positive spin on everything. You can always turn that frown upside down.
You and your fucking little lines.
But reality of it is, like I've told you, if it don't matter in 5 seconds, if it doesn't matter in 5 minutes, why does it matter now?
Okay, but what I'm asking is, do you feel like you put on a persona? Are you always Brian? Are you Ducky when you get into the office? Are you Instructor Valela? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have that persona you turn on when we get into the office, when we get out to the range?
100%.
Okay, so now what I'm asking you is, what is the reasoning behind that? Why is it that you feel like you have to mask up? If we're supposed to be giving people just us, why do we feel like we have to curb some of our selves?
Probably the number one reason, I don't need people's fucking feedback.
See, okay, well...
And that's where, like, how many times have I told you, don't let your environment control your day.
Right, but so you don't think constructive criticism is a good thing?
No. Sometimes I don't. I really don't.
So you don't think us at the range, me telling you, hey man, you're out of it today, you're slow. You don't think that's a good constructive criticism to give you that your head is not where it's supposed to be? That's not a good thing?
Well, for skills, yes. For emotions, no. Because all of us handle emotions differently.
Agreed.
Like how many people have told you, why don't you just calm the fuck down?
Yeah.
If only that was possible.
Look, and you see where he gets it from, right? His mother says you need to strive to set a positive example and always hear them out.
Yeah.
Good job, Mama. I mean, I wish I could get there. I think that's what my problem is, right? I don't immediately go to positivity.
And that reminds me of more, circling back to me as a kid. My mother always addressed me as an adult.
You were talking about this before, too.
My mother, like, if we were going to move, if something affected the household, it was never, you're the kid, fucking deal with it. My mother, even though if it was a decision I had zero choice in anyway,
right?
My mother would always sit me down and discuss, like, the pros and cons of it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember me and my mom sitting down and doing...
I remember your whole high school dilemma.
Pro and con lists.
You guys had your come to Jesus about getting shit together.
Yeah, my mom told me point blank, if I dropped out of high school, find somewhere else to live. That she had put too much time and energy into me for me to know.
I don't house dropouts.
She's like, I don't care if it takes 6 years. You're graduating high school. Because I did take 5 years.
Yeah. Super Saiyan.
I am now an instructor. I am an educator.
All right, now, since
I did 5 years of high school.
Hey, we are staying on the deeper side of things, right?
Okay.
Do you feel, because this is where I feel I'm at, right? I feel like every day, every morning before I leave my house, I have to...
Game face?
Every day.
Yeah.
Because remember I tell you, my mornings, if for whatever reason, right, me and the VA are trying to get hold of this, but in the mornings, the most is where I struggle the most. Because the moment my body registers that I am awake, it is enraged.
So let me ask you this. What motivates you to put a game face on? And not just say, fuck it, I am who I am. What motivates you to that?
My family, obviously, because, I need to try to make money one way somehow. If the VA is saying I can't hold down a job, I'm going to have to find how to do gigs. I'm going to have to find, what I'm saying?
Feet pics.
If y'all ever see my feet, you'd be disgusted. But he's on something, it'd make us money. I don't know. We might try. But what I'm saying is I have to do it because I know that without that face, now stay with me because we going to get a little smooth booty, right? But I feel like if I don't put that persona on, my internal pain will just bleed out. Like, if I come in there and I'm not really talkative or whatever, I'm not really making eye contact, I'm giving you one-word answers, you're automatically going to pick up something's up. You see what I'm saying? But there are days where I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to do fucking nothing. But
for me, I
still have accomplishments I have to get done.
Why put my burdens on others? And if I don't put that game face on, people are going to be, well, what's going on, man?
Well, that's like my thing with like my wife, right? I don't want to worry my wife. She worries enough about me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make her worry more. Like if we start getting into, like I do have weird ass dreams. You know what I'm saying? They are very vivid and, Sometimes they're, you know, saying a little more lucid, and sometimes they're a little more realistic as far as from memories in my past. But my thing is, I feel like if it's my brain trying to give me a heads up, and they're trying to use the best way to depict it to me about how I'm getting attacked, because me and Brian had talked about this before, right? I'm not so much a religious person, but I am a spiritual person.
Yeah.
And wherever you think demons come from, them motherfuckers are real. Like,
See,
I do feel like I am being attacked.
And maybe I
when
approach
try
that a
to
little differently.
Be like my normal self, I have some outside interference that is fucking with me internally.
So looking at it from that perspective, the best way I could explain how I put that mask on is a mask of positivity keeps that negative shit from me. You know, like we've talked about the circle you choose.
Yeah. And you giving me shit about being a negative Nancy
and I will
shit
say,
like that.
you are the absolute opposite of what I tell people I would choose in my circle, because you are a negative motherfucker.
Well, okay, but I've explained this to you.
But again, you and I are a special case.
Special breed.
But like prime example, again, you know, different family functions. We're worried about this or worried about that, or who's going to cook this. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Are we all getting to come together as family?
Right. Is there food going to be there?
Focus on the positive.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know, again, why focus on the negative? And I feel like I already have enough negative of my own I deal with. And by putting a positive mask on, talking about you feel like you have demons attacking you, I feel like by putting that positive mask on, it becomes my force field. You know, you ever see those hokey Facebook things where it's like smiles spread?
Yeah.
You know, smiles are contagious.
Yeah.
I smile at you, now you smile. You smile at her, now she's smiling.
Right.
She
Next you
smiles
know,
at
1,000
him.
people smile. Yeah, I'm with you.
I feel like by putting that mask of a positive smile on, I'm more likely to not have to deal with negativity, because it becomes that force field where now people see a positive person, they're not going to get to me.
Yeah, but we've
It's
talked
my
about
force
this
field.
before. I've already explained to you, right? That's why I feel it's an outside source, because even with all the bullshit that has happened to me, you know what I'm saying? Thank God I have a friend that was there for me when I needed, but also that he has a business that he's willing to take a risk on someone who the VA has labeled, hey man, you know, so he might be able to work, but he ain't going to be able to hold a job long.
You're everything I need you to be.
You see what I'm saying? So in my head, when I heard that news, I was, oh my God, I'm now fucked. I can't provide for my family. I've spent a decade driving trucks, building my own company, doing that. Now I can't even do that because I can't get my,
Nope.
you know, saying physical done anymore. Like,
Not happening on my watch.
and he was, listen to me, I am losing my shit in his driveway. I am bawling to him like every fucking time I start getting the ball rolling. I feel like, all right, even though I'm dealing with all these struggles, I can maintain my life. I can provide. I can be there for my family. And then punch in the mouth. And this was like the third time I feel it's happened to me, either on poor decision on my end, situational problems, you know what I'm saying? Or now with the VA, these medications that are now just stopping me from having any type of functional job. So then he's also come instruct. Like, you can, the way you teach, the way you go about information, just when you go about little conspiracies and shit, you dive in. And once you know the info, you can present it in however the fuck you want, but they're still retaining that information. So he asked me this morning or the other day, you know, saying, if you weren't doing all this, if I didn't have Don't Be a Sitting Duck, if TMG wasn't available, what would you be doing? And I'm telling him, I would be fucked. That's what I would be. Because I spent the 10 years in security and doing the prison jobs and all that and got fucked out of that. Then I spent another 10 years doing trucking and all that and got fucked out of that. Like, I am at a loss in my brain so hard that I can't, for the way I think and the way I think, you know, of a thinker that I am, I can't even give him a logical answer of what I would do. So then now I struggle with that. Like, fuck, imagine if Brian was not in your life. For the past 20 years, imagine not having that. Yeah, but I'm saying, you know, we go down these little thought exercises, right? Just for a second, imagine I wasn't in your life, ever. We've never met.
I'd have a lot less stress.
You would definitely have not been at that fucking prisoner transport job long.
Yeah.
I promise you that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are just so many things that had trickle effect throughout our lives.
Yeah.
Even look at how we separated, kind of did our own thing. I had a trucking company, he had a fucking firearms company, and all of a sudden now we're back at it and merged again. So we're working every day. Now we're firearms instructors. Now we're
Ride
trying
together,
to teach
die
people
together.
safety.
Bad boys for life.
Hell motherfucking yeah. So, keeping within that line of things, right? But moving it into more a little bit intimate, like with your spouse, right? Do you really feel like your wife knows what goes on in your head at times?
No.
Like never?
No.
Like a close inkling?
She knows.
Kind of on the same wavelength?
She knows 20%, and that's by design.
By design. Okay, hold on. No.
Yeah.
See, I'm with you about I go a little higher because me and my wife have discussed kind of a lot of my personal just to kind of figure me out.
I'm a firm believer there's a difference between lying and there's a difference between not bringing it up. Prime
Just
example.
not being aware of it.
Prime example, last year I had a 7-year-old die in my arms.
Oh, yeah, I remember that too.
I have zero reason to come home and put that on my wife.
Yeah.
I came home, she was asleep, my son was asleep next to her. I picked up my son and I gave him the biggest hug I could.
Right.
And then I went in the bathroom, sat on the shitter and cried.
Man, I was over here thought about I was going to be smooth booted. You go more smooth booted. It's the liquor, ain't it? It's the liquor.
And it's fucking Woodford.
It's the fucking whiskey.
Goddamn Woodford.
But again, this is kind of what we wanted to do anyway.
But that's the reality. Like, what does opening up about that to her accomplish? Not a fucking thing.
Okay, but what is...
Because now I have my wife worrying about me. Now I have her getting emotional. She's somehow going to turn it into her worried about our son.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, it's a mother.
So there's so many things that dominoes down.
Yeah.
Or I could shut the fuck up and deal with it.
Okay. Now, do you think we do that as men because we don't trust that they can kind of handle it, or because we don't want them to feel like it's another problem they have to deal
The
with?
risk isn't worth it.
Right, because that, you know what I'm saying? We've talked about it
Because
before.
I
like, with
can
my
handle
wife.
it and have my moments, or I can pull the pin, throw that grenade, and hope she's not in the blast radius.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Why take the risk?
Well, see, we talked about, I say the same
Because
thing about
at the
my
end
wife.
of the day,
she don't get the whole
Is there
story.
anything she can say
Or
that's
do.
going to change what happened?
That's facts. You're right on that.
So now we have two people living that trauma versus just me.
Okay, but do you see it as
And
beneficial?
I am the force field to my family.
Right, but do you see it as beneficial to actually talk about that, though?
All day
Even if
long.
it's not with your wife.
With you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, having that outlet to be able to do that was really fucked up. Like, it made me think about, you know what I'm saying, a lot more differently the way I view the safety of my child, or why I want him around me, and why I'm so dedicated to not being fucking into these, you know, saying drugs and shit that are going to make you totally aware, or unaware, I should say, that your child has passed away.
I like to think, and maybe I am, maybe I'm not, maybe eventually it's going to stack up. I like to think I have the mental capacity, the mental ability to hold that water.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And I feel something now. Again, ladies, don't burn me for this, right? But I do feel there are certain things that women just don't take very well, like death happening in front of them, someone being injured, you know, grotesquely. Nothing against my wife, okay, but you know, my child got into a bag of Skittles when he was a baby. Fucking took the whole damn bag into his mouth, chewed it to damn near a golf ball size, and tried to swallow it. As you could anticipate through this story, he began to choke. My wife, watching our son choke, panicked. Oh my God, he's turning blue in the face, what do we do? And I immediately pushed her out the way, turned her over, stuck my finger in his mouth, yanked out the Skittles, and let my child breathe. And I love my wife to death. But one of the things that I know about my wife is if the shit hits the fan to where she is in full-blown panic, I have to make sure I take over, because she is going to be scatterbrained. And there's nothing against her. I just feel like women have this immediate, like, reaction to when something's popping off, that they have this already, they have to slow their heart rate down. And I feel like I'm the opposite, right? I'll hear a gun go off, my heart rate hasn't even increased. I've seen some guy with a gun. Now my heart rate might start increasing because I know there is an actual danger. It wasn't a hammer hitting something or whatever the fuck. Like we were talking about the other day, right? We're all sitting out here, fireworks are going off, and my wife is fucking jumping like, oh my God, and we're both sitting here just, yeah, that's a firework that just went off.
Yeah.
Because we're just always around noises that we know the difference between something that's a danger noise and something that's, you know what I'm saying, just, it might be a noise that scares you, but you don't have to be as startled as most women seem to become.
But I also think it comes down to, and it's the environments that women versus men put themselves in.
I'll give you that.
You know, there's always the big argument of pay gap between men and women.
Oh boy! Don't
and I'm not trying to go down that road, but
right.
but let's face it, women choose lifestyles, careers that don't cater to stress
or
very
physical
well.
labor.
Not even necessarily the physical labor aspect, but women are natural nurturers.
I agree with that.
You know, like prime example, my son gets sick. I could not tell you the milligrams of medicine to give my child. My wife has to text that shit to me. Like, give him this amount. And she knows that shit on the fly.
But that's a mother thing, you know what I'm saying?
That's
They're
a
always
mother
dealing
thing.
with sickness and all that, you know what I'm saying, with their kids.
So again, and that's where, and this can become a whole nother argument in itself, and I know that's not where we're trying to take this. It can be another episode.
We can take it anywhere you want.
But the reality of it is women and men are not the same. And that's okay. Because there's things that women are better at that we suck at.
I definitely agree with that.
And there's things that we're better at that women suck at. That's why this whole concept of equality, gender equality, is dog shit.
Yeah.
And again, that can be a whole nother episode in itself.
See, but I think the word equality is what everyone gets hung up on. Like, do I think women should kind of have the same treatment as men? No, because
do I
there
think
are
women
different
should be
things
shipped
that
off to
be
war?
done.
No.
No. Right. See, and again, you may disagree, and I'm not saying there aren't gangsta female soldiers out there.
There's G.I. Janes out there.
Right. They're definitely out there. But what I'm saying is the majority of women putting a high-stress situation that involves combat and mortality, all of a sudden you're not going to get as much of a
Like my mom
of a partner.
My mom, she's been in bar fights. She's whipped ass.
No, like my mother, for example,
Oh,
right?
your mom's.
No,
she's
my
nice
mom
now.
has such a fear for guns that she's just not a fan of them. I couldn't
tried
see
to get her to carry pepper spray, and she was hesitant.
Listen, I just so right. So in my mind, right, I don't see my mom grabbing a gun in a time of, you know what I'm saying, stress and blowing someone away.
My mom would blast a bitch.
I don't see it. You know what I'm saying?
My mom is like Annie Oakley with a gun.
Actually, I don't think I've ever seen your mom shoot. We went the one time when we went to the countryside, but I think that was the only time I've ever seen your mom shoot. I don't think you've ever been to the range with her.
And you know what she's in love with right now? My lever actions.
Oh, hell yeah, mama.
And
That's
she
what I'm
is-
talking about.
Bop, bop,
Get off my land.
Yeah. My mom's a badass with a gun.
So, all right, Brian, I want to ask you something because we kind of been going back and forth about this too, right? How do you know when you cross from you're working hard to you're burning yourself out? Because, you know, we'd not argue, but we've debated. I'm telling you, hey, man, you got to be careful.
I suck at it.
We're working TMG Monday through Friday. We got the range. You got rigs sometimes. You know, you're working every other weekend when I'm not working. Like, you always seem to be wanting to go, go, go. And then, you know, we're sitting out here in my garage. We're not necessarily recording, but we're sitting here talking. And I'm catching the big man catching some Z's on me if I stay too quiet. So I'm telling him, hey, man, like, I don't mind if you pass out on me. You tired. But I feel like he is burning himself out rather than working hard. And I'm trying to get him to understand the difference. Like, I can see it because I don't have the mentality that he has of the go, go, go. There's always something to do. I have a work day. That work day is completed. Now leave me the fuck alone.
I know it sounds shitty, but what has changed that for me is my son.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
And my son has, and this kind of piggybacks on conversations we've had you working the road. and the detriment that has had
Yeah.
to your relationship with your sons. I remember my dad. He was a provider. I can never, ever take from my father. He worked.
Yeah.
He provided. He made sure, you know what? Money was always there.
Right. Food on the table, clothes on your back, roof over your head.
You know, was he there as a dad? That's up for debate.
See, but that's where I feel like
But-
the disconnect is.
But some would argue providing is being there for as a dad.
Right. See, because my dad was, if I roof over your head, food on your plate, clothes on your back, I'm doing what a man is supposed to do.
But for me, and I know it sounds crappy, but even getting married to Melissa, even as close as I am with my mom, my grandmother, my Aunt Sonia, the biggest motivator for me to start, and I'm not saying I've figured it out yet, but to start trying to figure out, and this is where I tell my wife all the time, I'll be tired.
I'm right.
If
I'll
it's
tell
my day
wife, I'll
off,
sleep when I'm dead.
you want to go do something with our kid? Let's go do it. You
Yeah.
want to create that memory with our son? Let's go do it. Like, are there times that I'll come at her like, this Saturday, could we be around the house?
Yeah.
You know? Somehow it never works out that way. Like, prime example, hanging out with your mom this past weekend. That was supposed to be like, hey, we're going to go hang out with your mom for 2-3 hours. It became the day.
The day.
You know? And that's just my wife being extra because it just is what it is. And that's fine. Because let's face it, how great of a day did we have?
Yes. And that's what I'm saying.
And,
when you
I will
plan it
say,
right.
those moments with my son and seeing the fun we had with my son on Saturday, I'll be burned out all I want. I don't care.
So then let me ask you this. Do you think what's more detrimental in your eyes? Your business failing or you failing as a father?
Oh, failing as a father. It's my biggest fear in life.
So you would let Don't Be a Sitting Duck crash and burn.
Yeah.
If it
I
meant
will-
that you
I will
would
go-
ensure that you're a better
I will
father.
go flip burgers at McDonald's if it means being a better father.
See, I don't know if I can agree with that part.
I wholeheartedly feel that. But not wanting to fail as a father has become more of a motivator to do better with Don't Be a Sitting Duck.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Not as a, let me hand this legacy of Don't Be a Sitting Duck over to Little Duck. But the reality
That
of
would
it
be dope,
is, I now have to set an example for my son. I now have to set a standard of work ethic. Like I told you, I look at my mom and dad, work ethic, immaculate. I never want my son to be like, yeah, my dad was kind of a lazy fuck. Never
See,
in a million years do I want my son to
but that's what I'm saying. Like, my upbringing with the generation that I came up in, that's what it was, right? Food on your back. I mean, food on the table, clothes on your back, roof over your head,
Yeah.
and that's what a man was supposed to be doing. He goes out to work, he comes home, he has the evening or whatever time for himself a little bit before he goes to bed to go do it over again.
You know the greatest moment of my day every day? Greatest moment of my day.
Picking up your kid from daycare.
Picking up my kid. Something about looking through the window of his door of his classroom and him he's running around like a squirrel on meth. Just all over. And then he locks eyes with me. Daddy!
Yeah.
And he comes and runs to me.
Uh-huh.
That makes any other burden that I had that day go away.
Yeah.
Not
I'm
even
with you on
less.
that.
It disappears. And that moment, all I am is a father.
Right. Okay.
And that is the best feeling
Hear me out though.
in the world.
Right? Does that motivation stay there when that stops? Because I'm telling you that stops. My kids don't light up when they see me walk in the door anymore. They used to. They used to run to me and hug me every time I came through the door. They used to. They don't do that no more.
So
My kids barely register that I'm here.
here's something that I will say. And I don't think you're going to like how I say it.
Here it comes.
You went away for a lot of years.
Oh no, I never disagreed with you.
And I think you lost that spark with your kids that you are now trying to regain.
And it's a little too late for that, I think.
I don't want to agree with that, but kinda.
Right. Because they're so used to being on their own.
I never want to lose that spark. And I'll be honest with you, looking at how you are with your kids motivates me even more sometimes. Or looking at, like, me and my dad, we've reconnected. Like,
Right.
2 years ago, I didn't speak to my dad for almost a whole year. Him and I had a falling out. For almost a whole year, we didn't speak. It hurt me. I will wholeheartedly admit it hurt me to my core. But it also motivated me that I would never let my son feel what I was feeling in that moment. I would never, on a Father's Day, not be there with my kid. It motivated me more. My dad, for that year, did more for me as a father than he could have ever taught me in 3 decades. Because I never want to lose that spark with my son. And while, yes, I know it will dull, he'll go through his, I hate my parents phase.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that never comes.
No, but it's...
and I know that will dull. I'm not naive to that.
Right.
But the reality of it is, I never want to be out of his life long enough to lose that spark.
Okay,
and
but
I
you
think
do
that's
know
where you and I have
Justin...
talked about with your situation. You were a week at a time dad.
Right.
You'd be gone 2-3 months at a time, and then you're home for a week.
But remember, I was telling you, in my eyes, the roof over their head, the food on their back,
100%.
you know what I'm saying?
Your kids never struggled. I mean, we could even go as far as saying your kids were fucking spoiled.
Spoiled, rotten, or whatever.
In your mind, that was awesome.
Yes.
But now looking back, what would have been more important?
Being home.
So I'm taking a lesson out of your playbook.
No, I'm with
as
you.
a new father. Because now I'm going,
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that.
Right.
And that's not me trying to come down on you.
But I understand that because we have talked about it before. It's just what I saw. Again, the way I was raised, right? My upbringing was food on the table, clothes on your back, roof over your head. If I am giving you that, if I am faithful to my wife and fucking as loyal as I can be, everybody should leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Because look at my dad to this day, right? It's literally his way or the highway, or he goes into his little room and watches Scooby-Doo. So I'm just saying, I feel that the environment we're brought up in, like I tell people, I use my father as the example of what not to be like. I know it sounds shitty. I'm not saying everything he taught me was a bad thing. He did teach me how to have rough skin and defend myself.
But to
and
me,
all
that's
that
what
shit.
that year with my father was for me.
Yeah.
Because that was an example for me. I will never let my son feel what I'm feeling right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
There will
or
never
if,
be a time.
Hey, did my dad do this with me? Nope. I'm going to make sure I do that with my sons. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to make sure they see that I'm trying to show interest in their life.
But, like my mom just said, and I would have said it even without her commenting, it's not too late, man. You just got to find... You got to find what gives that flame.
I don't see it that way.
You and your son got to find that spark.
Now, I'm with you as far as with my children, right? Like, I understand I wasn't there. They did get kind of used to being by themselves. That's kind of a thing that bothers me, right? If I am the reason my children learn to be alone, that kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Even though it's a good thing to know how to be by yourself. Fellas out there, sometimes you kind of just got to be with yourself, man.
I'll be honest with you. I think kids today are better at being alone than any other generation.
See, but it's not. They aren't alone as far as in the room alone, but they're not alone. They're online. They're talking with other people.
But that's not genuine. You and I both know face-to-face friendship.
Okay, but
is way different than online video game friends.
Hear me out though. For us, because we're used to that, having that friend that we were going bike rides.
They just don't know what they're missing.
Yeah, true. But my kids don't have that available like I had in Chicago, where I had 8 friends that were within a 5-year age group and we're all out bike riding. I wish I could give that to my kids. I wish.
The little rascals.
But then at the same time, you got me fucked up, Brian. If I'm letting my kids just disappear for 10 hours bike riding the Florida lands.
In today's world, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Before, we were in a group. My parents had no problem. We all stuck together. We'd take some crackers. We'd get berries off of trees. We had water available to us at parks. We'd have a good time. But now let my kid come up to me and say, hey, Dad, me and my 7 friends are just going to be gone for 10 hours. We'll be back. Like, the fuck you will?
My mother traumatized me. I had to drink out of the hose.
This guy.
I wasn't allowed inside for drinks.
Fucking privileged asshole. See, look at that.
I had to drink out of the hose.
See, and we have gotten into big debates about this too, right? Like, Brian has had his own little, you know what I'm saying, upbringing with the way he dealt with adversity his own way. My adversity was a bit more different, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to tell him there are times where how he views it from his own upbringing is not the same how I view it because, you know, I didn't really have a lot growing up. There were things we did because my mother hates to hear it. We weren't poor. We were fucking poor. We were poor.
My mother always made sure I wanted for nothing.
Right. And again, that's what I give credit to my father, right? Even though he wasn't there as a father the way I thought a father should be, he did provide. He did.
But my mom was all about
clothes on our backs.
My mother was all about moments. Like,
see, right. I wish my father was.
Playing Uno after dinner. Hey, break out a board game. Let's play a game. You know? So it wasn't about items being spoiled. It was about moments. It was about creating memories.
I'm with you. See,
because let's face it, what kid, even us at our age, oh my God, I remember my Nintendo. No. We remember going fishing with our grandfather.
Rides, going to Indiana Beach with our family,
You know, like me and my mom going on a road trip up to Maine, and I ended up in the hospital dehydrated because I ended up sick as shit. But we now look back at that as a memory that we laugh at. I don't remember what my mom got me for Christmas in 1997, but I remember the memories.
Right, but that's
where I think you are now trying to find that balance, because you're like, my kid was provided for, but now you're struggling to, what memories have I created with my kids?
See,
and now you're trying to create that,
right?
But you're struggling, like, what can we?
Well, the reason I struggle is because like the way I would probably word it best, right, is I feel like I was there in every photograph, but then I'm gone in every sentence. Yeah. So all the little things, all the, you know, Joseph struggling with his girlfriend, you know, when he first got broken up with, the feeling of, you know, Mom, what did I do wrong? I feel like my kid should have had that conversation with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When my kid is struggling with football, when he's having some issue, I feel like he should talk to me, and I feel like my children are afraid of me. They don't respect me. They fear me, and I don't want that. Yeah. Because then when we're older, there ain't going to be no phone call. I get it. I'm ugly. I understand, bro. Trust me. But I'm saying, you know, as I struggle, like, with my kids, you see the relationship I have with my dad. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like I hide it from anybody. I love my father. It's my father. He did what he had to get me here today. But at the same time, in my mind, for how I am with my children, my father was not a father. But then you look at his example of a father. His father wasn't a father. It was provider, roof over your head, you know what I'm saying, clothes on your back. So that is what was instilled in my father, what he tried to instill in me. And then as the third generation came around, I was like, oh, no. Like, yeah, I'm providing. Yes, I would like my way, but I want my wife to give me my way of her own accord, not because she fears me.
But that's where I think our generation is unique. Because I feel like your and I's generation is...
We're that dying breed. We're that last of...
It's not as much the dying breed. We are the transition breed.
I don't like that word.
Because we're the first generation where it's not... Because let's face it, even though you and I both would love to tell our wives, stay at home.
Right.
Be a stay-at-home mom.
Hell yeah, I wish.
That's not the world we live in anymore.
Can't do it right now.
So now it's not, well, we can't be the man of the house because technically our women are working. So they're a provider just like we are. So now the argument becomes, well, they can't be the only sole nurturer, because if they're having to share with us being a provider, we're having to share with them being the nurturer. And that's where we're finding, and you and I do struggle with that because we were raised old school.
Man.
But our generation is that first generation of finding that difference or that balance between, yes, I am the man of the house, and you and I chalk it up a lot as the protectors.
Right.
You know, and especially because of our backgrounds and hell,
Right.
what we do for a living. Like, we teach being the protector. You know, hell, I talked about in class today at the range. Like, when you go to the range, role play.
Right.
We're not there learning how to put holes in cardboard.
Paper. Yeah.
We're there learning how to stop the son of a bitch at the other end of the hallway trying to hurt your family. So it's easy for us to chalk up as we're the men of the house because we protect. But we're also not that old school, what your dad was of,
Right. It's my way or the highway.
it's my way or the highway, because now, hey, my wife, she makes more money than I do. She brings more money into our
Got me
household.
a sugar mama.
You know, not to that extent yet. Maybe she'll get that raised one day. But reality of it is, because of that, now who am I to say, well, the kid is your problem?
Yeah.
Because realistically, she's just as much paying the bills as I am,
Yeah.
if not more so sometimes. So you know what? Hey, she needs help with the kid. You know what? Shit. I do need to be helping with the kid. And I'm not against that.
Right. See, and
But
that's what I think.
But it is a balancing act because my outlook on the world is, shit, I'm the man.
But I think that's where the ball gets dropped. Is a lot of times people are making it seem like we want it is our way, always, all the time. When I get home, no. But what I'm asking, I'm like, hey, it would be nice if you're home an hour and a half longer than I am before I get home. Dinner sure would be awesome to have.
And here's the other reality. And this is, I think, something I've talked about before. We all have different battlefields.
Yeah.
And while I would 100% make the argument, me having a 7-year-old die in my arms, is there anything in my wife's job that equates to that?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. But does that mean she doesn't have bad days at work?
No, of
Where
course
she
not.
needs to come home and vent?
But it's just our idea of a bad day and their idea of a bad day is not the same.
But does that make their bad day any less in their world?
In their world, no.
No. But that's where we struggle to cater to that.
Right, because in our
Because
world,
we're going, oh, your printer ran out of ink?
yeah. Oh,
Suck it
sorry,
up,
you
Buttercup.
sat all day in AC and fucking
Yeah.
had to deal with two people tell you that they didn't want to come in today. But anyways, I understand what you're saying. It's just I feel like the whole expectation, what a lot of times what men kind of put on themselves, I think sometimes we overdo it to ourselves.
100%.
Like, you know, you give me shit all the time about, you know, hey man, start looking at the positive things.
Yeah.
Start trying to see. I do struggle with this, right? There was one time where I called him. I said, look, man, you know, I don't know how to handle positive pressure, right? Everything started going good. He got me a job. I got some kind of money coming in. I'm not completely fucking out in the dark trying to figure out this whole VA shit. But then I feel like everything is going too well. Like, this shouldn't be happening to me. I shouldn't be having all these good things
You
start
feel
to
like
occur.
you don't deserve it.
Yes. Same thing with why I always struggled about ever going in for a VA rating. I knew I was fucked up. From day one getting out, I knew that shit.
Yeah.
But I was, fuck that. I can deal with it. I can still provide for my family. I can still do what I had to do. And I did, but I had a lot of struggles in the process. I had a lot of nights where my wife went to bed crying. And I had a lot of nights where I'm sitting in my garage angry with myself that I handled the situation poorly. Same thing with him, where I'm sitting here, fuck, man. Maybe I was a dickhead to him when I shouldn't have been because I let my emotions get the better of me. So now I'm just starting to realize, yeah, you know what? I may have this whole rock hard outside rough edge persona, but there are times where I do let my emotions get the better of me. And more so anger than anything.
Well, let's be real. Isn't that the goal of this podcast? To show, you know what? It's okay to fucking be dealing with some shit.
Right. I want dudes to see, like, especially if you guys come through our class, you kind of get the real us. You see what it's like. Like, look, I understand I'm hood as fuck. I get that. But that shouldn't stop you from becoming an instructor. That shouldn't stop you from getting your weapons efficiency game up. None of that should stop you from being a good officer while you're on duty.
Yeah.
Just because I talk like this and I hold my demeanor like this off duty doesn't mean I am the same person on duty. Because I know when to turn it on. I know when to put on that professional friendliness on. Even though everyone's like, man, bro, when I see you off duty, you're never this friendly. Yeah, because I'm getting paid to be friendly right now.
Well, it's like I always think about, my dad was a canine deputy. And his main dog that he had was Thundor. Belgian Malinois. At home,
Great dogs.
this was the quintessential house dog.
Yeah.
Like on the couch, friendly as hell. I mean, this is a police dog that's playing with a kid. You know, we're out in the yard throwing the tennis ball. But when my dad got in uniform, I mean, that dog knew it was time to throw down. You know, and my dad has numerous stories of that dog ripping people a new asshole. But then the dog comes home. They never had to worry about that dog snapping at me.
Yeah.
Never had to worry about that dog biting me. But this is a dog that 24 hours ago just ripped a guy's arm wide the fuck open. You know, was being shot at.
Yeah.
But then the dog comes home and is the biggest lover in the fucking room. And I feel like that's sometimes what we are. Like, we know how, like, I tell my wife point blank, you've never heard me yell. If you ever hear me yell, be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because I'm a firm believer, years of dealing with inmates, years of doing security, being in neighborhoods with the shittiest of people, I don't bring that home. So if I'm able to be at work and deal with that kind of shit, I don't want my wife seeing that side of me.
Yeah, well, see, that was my
I mean,
issue
how many times
with
has my
prisoner
wife
transport.
heard you and I telling war stories of prisoner transport? Because you and I get drunk and we start talking stories.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget. There's been, you know, even before my wife, other girls that I dated. I remember getting in the car, leaving your house, and I can never see you being like that. Well, I did it regularly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's because they're not also seeing me in that environment. You know, I'm that police dog at home right now. You're not seeing me on duty.
See, and I think that's kind of the thing with my wife where she struggles too. Like, she got the back end of things.
Yeah.
She was with me for one deployment. I'll give her that. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, most of all the fucked up shit had already occurred. A lot of my trade, you know, skills that I've gotten in my youth from like roofing and doing cement, that was all already done. So then we get married, and yes, for the time I'm with her, I've never fucked with that shit. But then all of a sudden, I'm building her racks that hold 24 of her little drums that she wants to hold things, and building her a laundry thing.
It doesn't look lovely.
Building a shed. But what I'm saying is, she looked at me like, oh, I didn't think you were capable of these things. Like, what do you mean? Just because you've never seen me do it doesn't mean in my 20s I wasn't putting up roofs left and right with our cousin Wilfred. He's the one who showed me how to put down roofing. Like, just because I'm not doing it doesn't mean I don't have that skill.
Yeah.
I just understand the meticulous focus it takes to build something, to be right at measurement. Because if you're off by a quarter inch, now shit ain't gonna fit right. Sometimes I don't have that type of patience. And if I don't have that willingness to focus, it's gonna piss me off. And I'm trying to avoid those random frags that are getting pulled and thrown down.
Yeah.
So I try to get myself out of situations like that. It's just sometimes it irritates me. My wife is, you know, well, you don't know how to drive a boat. I've driven boats before, just not with you because we didn't have a boat. But when I was 22, I used to be on the goddamn water all the time driving boats. You just never seen that shit because we met in 23, we got married in 25. Like,
yeah.
So it gets a little irritating sometimes because, you know, she looks at me like, well, I've never seen you done it. Well, just because you've never seen me done it doesn't mean I don't have the capabilities of doing so.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And that where I believe we would kind of get into the last little subject for the night.
Yikes.
Right? So, Brian, if you take it all away, right? Take Don't Be a Sitting Duck away, take TMG, take Riggs, take the title of instructor away. Who is Brian himself?
Father and husband.
That's a very lame answer.
But that's the reality.
That's everybody's answer that's married with children. I'm talking about go beyond that. Stop giving me the superficial father or husband. Of course you're a father and husband. But who is Brian outside of all that? If you weren't the gun enthusiast, if you didn't have the class to, you know, say you were an instructor for.
Are we talking work related?
No, just you. Take away everything. What would Brian do now if Brian can be just Brian? What would you be doing if you had that ability?
Shit, I'd probably be living in the woods like the Unabomber.
See, I go there too. Like, I know it sounds weird, away from people.
If I had zero responsibility, zero need for connection,
We're in a little too flat in the woods.
Yeah, I'd be living in the woods in a goddamn shed with a cot.
Our goal eventually is some type of family compound. I think would be dope, like a 7-acre. We'll fucking fence it off and shit. We'll put some ECPs in and just only those allowed. And we're gonna have like an acre before you're even on my shit, and I will have thermals. So think it's a fucking game. But that's where my mind goes, right? Like, hey, if you take it all the way, what would you be doing? Staying away from everyone.
You know what bothers me? And I've thought about this numerous times. When you meet somebody, what's the first thing they tell you about themselves?
What do you mean? What they do for a living?
What they do for a living. We allow our profession to become our identity.
Right.
Do you think that's good or bad?
It depends on the circles you're in.
Okay.
Right? For example, right? I'm not at the bowling alley. Oh, you know I started instructor, right? No, it's just, hey, what do you do? Hey, I'm a firearms instructor. No shit. Yeah, no shit. Here's a business card.
It is a pretty cool job to brag about.
It is. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they're like, you know, oh yeah, work was tough. I've been on shift 12 hours. Like, fuck, man, I shoot guns for a living. Like,
well, I'll be honest with you. There's times, and I've even yelled at friends of mine. And I've even yelled at Melissa and other, girls I was with over the years. Don't tell people what I do for a living. You know why? Because doing what I do, guns is one of those cool guy jobs where now, like, I've been sitting in cigar shops, literally just trying to relax. And a new guy, and it's always some guy who wants to chat about everything. And,
Chatty Cathy.
And one of my buddies would be like, well, you know what Brian does? He's a firearms instructor. And now this guy wants to tell me every time he shot a gun, hey, what does it take to get concealed in Florida? Hey, I heard there's a 3-step rule. Yeah, I can teach you about that if you want to pay to take my class.
Right. But that's what they're looking for. You're the one that got me to notice that.
Yeah.
Once they realize you're a fire instructor, they're always looking for that.
And I told you that.
So when can we go shoot?
When I brought you on board, you're going to have endless people. Let's set up a range day. Cool. Go on my calendar.
Right, go on my calendar and set it up.
And pay for it.
No, I'm with you.
And don't get me wrong. I have a handful of friends. Whenever they want to go to the range, hey, come, we'll shoot, have fun, whatever. But 90% of the people in my circle, they want to go to the range, they're going to pay.
Yeah. Well, not only that, especially trying to get taught to shoot better.
It's my guns. It's my knowledge. It's things I've paid thousands of dollars to learn and maintain.
Yeah.
So not to be an ass.
No, I'm with you, man.
If I asked you to come change my your brother Manny, he's a plumber. I don't expect him to come to my house and do shit for free.
Yeah.
Even if he's willing.
I still want to break him off.
Like, yo, let me buy you dinner.
Yeah.
Let me buy you a bottle.
Yeah.
Like I joke with everybody in my circle, cigar is coin. Like, you want me to hook you up with a concealed class? Buy me a handful of cigars. Because that's what I'm going to spend the money on anyways. But the reality of it is, our professions become our identity. And I'm not always a fan of that because I'd rather be remembered as the good father. Like, if somebody's doing my eulogy.
Oh, I'm going to kill it.
Thanks to my mother,
I'm going to kill it.
We know that word now.
Yeah.
If somebody's doing my eulogy, the last thing I give a fuck about them bringing up is he taught great concealed classes.
He was a great firearms instructor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that at my funeral either.
I don't care.
Right. I'm with you. I feel like taking some time out to kind of shed all that business away. We argue about this all the time because it's very hard for you because you've been doing it solo for so long.
Yeah.
It's hard for you to turn it off. But I'm telling you, to give yourself that reprieve is kind of when I describe to you the reprieve I get. Like, if I can just relax for a second, if I can kind of have silence, let me kind of collect myself real quick, you know what I'm saying? I have a lot more better response than if you're throwing me to a high stress without kind of preparing me and then I got to react. and then you're mad with the way I react.
Yeah.
But you're getting the actual me. That is the way I would react. Unless you give me a heads up, like, hey, we're going into a situation, they're kind of hot, you want to prepare yourself. Now I'm kind of on the ready. You know what I'm saying? Instead of a grenade
like
blew
a Little
up.
Caesar's pizza. You're hot and ready.
I just don't like grenades blowing up in my face.
Yeah.
Like I told my wife, right? We went to go see my VA to kind of give her a breakdown of what's going on. I bring my wife because she is the outside view in. Anything I'm not seeing or feel like I have happening, she can let the doctor
Which
know
I hope
it
you
does
know if
happen.
you ever need me to do, I'm more than happy.
They have asked about you coming too, so we may have to, because you are the male counterpart that I be mentioning a lot. But
Heterosexual life, mate.
right, but I tell my wife, hey, I want you to talk to doctors. I want you to bring up if you see something that I'm either not noticing or not saying, but don't blindside me. Don't be in the office with my doctor and then say something that we've never spoke about prior.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the doctor's looking at me with questions. I don't like that shit. So I try to prep my wife like, hey, if there's anything bothering you, if there's anything I'm doing, let me know so at least I am aware that, yes, my wife has brought to my attention. I am a little more quick off the cuff.
Well, and I feel that's one of the advantages you and I have. Like, there's no filters between you and I. Like, if you're out of pocket, I'll tell you you're out of
Right.
pocket.
Right.
You know, if you're in your feelings about something, hey, man, you're being a dumbass.
Right.
Like, I don't care. Because if you get mad at me, I know in 5 minutes you're not going to be
And
mad
it just, I love you to death, all right? But it just sometimes it sounds different coming from you than from her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And vice versa sometimes where I feel like I'm not really getting something and he gives me a point of view and then she comes up
Well, it's
with
no
something
different
that's
with my
just
wife.
a little better.
You know, there's times I bring things up to her, and one of the biggest things that shuts me down is when she starts to cry. And there's times that I'm like, I want to have that adult conversation.
But I can't if you're huffing
and
and
she
puffing.
gets caught up in her emotions and starts crying.
Yeah,
I can't have a conversation with
Right.
somebody like that.
right.
You know, because now we're not accomplishing anything.
Well, I've had the same problem. My wife said, if you want to have your child moment, have it, and then come back when you're ready to be an adult. I understand
Yeah.
that's not the way to word it. Remember, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But there could be better ways of me saying, hey,
I
go
see you
collect
working on it.
yourself.
It's
No,
going really well.
go collect yourself emotionally, and then when you're ready,
Yes.
you can come back and we can re-engage in this
so
conversation.
you don't hand her a coloring book and say, hey, go be a kid and color
But you
your
see what I'm
feelings?
saying? Like, do you see how much, like, I feel like I have to put so much more effort into being like, all right, I understand.
But that goes back to what we were talking about before. We know how to put that mask on.
Right.
You know, and that's the burden we carry.
But
Because they don't know how to put that mask on.
right, but that's what I feel like a
Their
lot of
mask
guys
is the
do that.
crying.
I feel like a lot of you fellas out there are doing that.
Crying is their defense mechanism.
Me man, me no cry. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying it has been shown to be beneficial. And we're telling you from personal man-to-man experience that sometimes it does help to kind of bounce it off another guy who's in a similar situation. A lot of my problems were when I first got married is all my friends were still single and wanted to mingle and party. I had to get myself out of that because I don't want to be in that environment anymore, especially if I'm trying to show my wife that I'm loyal.
And as someone who has been that support system, because I think it's safe to say I am your support more than
1,000%.
I don't think that's
1,000%.
unknown. Never play tit for tat.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that's
we talk
something-
about that all the time.
And that's something that I hope you never feel I'm doing. Like, oh, you had that happen? Well, let me tell you a story about what happened to me. Like, and I
No, but
feel
at the same
sometimes
time,
guys
you know-
being that ego, it becomes, oh, you saw something fucked up? Let me tell you about something I saw that was fucked up.
Yeah, there's people out there. Oh, yeah. Well, you shot 4 times? Yeah, I shot it 5 times. Like, okay.
I don't
okay.
need that shit.
Right. I
And
don't give a
that's
fuck
not
about whose
productive.
dick is bigger. I really don't.
And that's not being supportive. Because what is that succeeding in?
Right, because you're not listening
does
to
that
what I'm
accomplish?
saying. You're waiting for me to done to know when it's your time to talk.
Yeah, because now it's a competition.
But that's why I think we mesh so well, because we've never put it to where it's, oh, I'm trying to be better than you at this, or you're trying to be better
Like,
than
I
me at that.
recognize you've seen fucked up shit in the military. But you recognize I've seen fucked up shit in some of the stuff
Right,
I've
and
done.
that's what I, especially with our classes, right?
But
we
you're
try
not
to tell
saying your
people,
shit's better than my shit.
right, it's
Or
different.
my shit's better than your shit.
It's different.
It's different.
It's all different. That's
Yeah.
all it is. Right. Now, we're not saying that, men are asking for you guys to feel sorry for us in any way. And most men don't even want the fucking sympathy.
We don't want pity.
Right. I'm one of them. Right. I don't need your fucking pity. I don't need your sympathy. But what we are asking for is to have
Sympathy
that.
is in the dictionary between shit and syphilis.
Is it really between shit and syphilis?
Should be.
But anywho, right? What we're trying to do is, we just want to voice out to other men that you don't have to carry it alone, especially if you're struggling.
Yeah.
A lot of times it is better to have that male, counterpart that you can bounce things off of. So don't make it seem like you have to struggle alone. I did it for a long time too, right? I thought pushing it down and stuffing it away was the answer. And then it fucking overflowed like a volcano eruption. And it turned out real bad.
And let me say this. This episode of El Oso and the Duck probably feels a little heavier than the usual.
Right. We are a little deeper in the feelings.
But him and I have had the talk, what is the goal of this podcast?
Right.
This is it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, we're going to have fun with the conspiracy theory shit.
That's my job.
But at the end of the day, him and I have been there for each other. And the way I said it to him was, if this podcast has one individual watch it that realizes, hey, you know what? Something they're saying resonates.
Right.
Maybe I don't need to put a gun to my head.
Right.
How many veterans, what is it, 22? Is the suicide of veterans every day?
Something like that.
There's always advertisements.
It's a higher number than it would. One veteran.
Than what
is
it fucking should be.
Right.
And again, I'm not ex-military, but I have all the respect in the world. And one of my biggest regrets is never going military. But the reality of it, not even military, law enforcement, first responder, overburdened family men. If you ever feel like there's something that you can't get past, we hope something said in this podcast helps you.
Right.
Because we definitely went a different direction on this podcast than we've been doing. And not every moving forward is going to be like this.
It won't. I just wanted to get a chance to kind of get a deep dive into where we see the world.
But we want to set foundation, especially in the first 10 episodes here. We want to set a foundation for the future of this podcast. And I really hope you guys aren't looking at the two of us as two guys up here bitching.
Right.
Two guys up here saying we got it figured out.
We don't.
We don't.
Trust me, I don't.
But the adventure, the journey, the going down the path of discovery is what we hope this podcast can help you with. And I really hope us being raw with you, I hope you never feel like this is an act, because Unfiltered is the name of this podcast. But the reality of it is, if you guys have ever spent more than 5 minutes with either one of us,
you would know we're like
you'll
this
know
always.
We're as authentic as it can be.
You're getting us.
You don't
for
like
sure.
us, as he likes to say, suck my dick. Okay? You don't like what we say, so be it. But we really do hope, and if 1,000 episodes of El Oso and the Duck, if it helps one person discover that, mission accomplished for me.
Oh, no, for me too, because I told you, I wasn't trying to do this for any type of monetary gain. I don't want a nice big old studio.
We'll never put a paywall on this.
I don't give a shit. My goal is to get people out there, like a couple
and honestly,
students
this
we
is
had at our
therapy for
class.
us. This is therapy for us.
It is definitely therapy for me, 1,000%. Because it helps me kind of bounce off things with Brian. We get little responses from people that, show up. When they show up, if they show up, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But our goal is to reach that one guy that is, maybe I'm better off not being in this world. That one guy that feels like, my struggles are not being seen because I don't really voice them correctly. Maybe we're showing you a better way to talk to your wife. Maybe we're showing you a better position to have when you're struggling with your children.
And the argument I make, like being a good dad. A shitty dad doesn't care if he's a good dad.
Right.
So if you care, automatically by default you're a good dad.
That makes you a good dad.
Like
now, you may struggle in areas that you can work on. But
has he had his fuck-ups? Sure. Will I make my fuck-ups? Sure. But the fact that we give a shit where they fuck-ups, that's what makes us good dads. And I'll fight any of you on that. the fact that we give a shit, are we being good husbands? That makes us good husbands. Or am I a good son to my mother? Am I a good nephew to my aunt? Am I a good grandson to my grandma? The fact that I'm asking that question in my mind means you are.
Right. You're always
because if you didn't
looking
care,
to be better.
if you weren't asking that question, and it's fuck them, then why bother?
So all my fellas out there, if you ever feel like you're struggling, hell, you can even hit me up on a DM.
Hell yeah.
Let me know what's going on. I'll give you my own little person. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist of any kind. But it can be therapeutic.
But I'll tell you what's up. I'll be straight up with you. And I won't sugarcoat. He'll be the first one to tell you I don't sugarcoat a fucking thing. But reality of it is, has that helped you?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
But I will tell you what I think you need to hear. Whether that's right or wrong, maybe it gives you a different perspective.
Right, that's your determination to make.
Yeah.
So, I know we've been at the 2-hour mark for a little bit, but if you guys enjoyed the episode, if you didn't enjoy the episode, leave a comment.
6.
You know what I'm saying? Spread the word. We are starting to put them up on YouTube. If you want to go back just to kind of see how this all started off, they're all on there. Brian will have it up for you guys later this week.
All but episode 1 because we had camera.
Yeah, because we
issues.
had camera issues. And it was probably one of the
But I
better
think
ones.
we figured out most of those issues at this point.
So thank you for the people that stopped by to say hello. Kimmy, I saw you come in a little on the back end, but I appreciate you for stopping by, even if you're here for 5 minutes.
I don't know you, Kimmy, but you're solid.
Hey, that's my bowling girl from back in the day.
Bowling.
So, thank you for taking your time to hang out with us. I know we had some smooth booty moments. We want to just kind of give you the inner workings of us sometimes of what we deal with in our regular day life. And to let you know we're just like you. We have the same struggles, same problems, maybe from a different angle, maybe from a different perspective. But like I tell Ducky all the time, right? We seem to always be climbing the same mountain just from a different mountainside.
And the phrase I would say that I think kind of wraps up everything we've talked about today: don't let perfect be the enemy of good enough.
And he's right. Right? Don't let
what
that
is perfect?
seeking perfection.
There is no such thing as perfect.
I mean, there is, but not really.
No, there isn't.
Maybe
every rose has its thorns.
Thanks for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.
Peace.